Hey folks, thanks again for tuning in today at the Dude Ranch. Captain James Nelson here with Dude Craft Guitars. We got a whole new series coming up for you. We just finished up guitar number 109, that beautiful little 12 string. Now we're going to get started on number 110. Now this one's going to be, we got a little, what is this? This is wood. Yep, that's what this is. What we got here is we got walnut. We got walnut on some basswood. It's trying to make it as light as we can, but as pretty as we can, because everybody knows if we made it pure walnut, it would be pretty doggone heavy. So we're making us a nice little guitar there. And that one is B-6. And you see we're only going to go with one single humbucker. It's a B-6, but we're going with a B6.2 pickguard. Now this baby normally would ride like this on a more slanted version of the B6, but we're going to make this work. So in doing that, we'll need to make a new template because this template doesn't fit this guitar exactly. We're going to make it work. And I just finished, right before finishing up number 109, the Ronda, I had laminated up the neck pieces. So what you're going to get is you're still going to get the hyperspeed stuff, watching me do as much as we can on video for you. Narrating, showing you, teaching you along the way what we're doing and why we're doing it that way, and hopefully eliminate some of the sanding montages. A lot of sanding involved, a lot of hand sanding, especially when you're making hand guitars. But you know, you don't need to watch that. I think by now, if you've been following along with any of these builds, or even if this is your first one, I think we'll get the message across that you got to sand a bit and go from there. So that's it. I mean, I kind of tidied up the shop a little bit so I could get started on this. We already got some footage in the can, I guess us old timers would say, but we got some footage ready for you to go. I just thought I'd give you a little live action intro rather than making it all kind of ubiquitous by being behind a microphone through the whole thing. Here you are. Thanks again for tuning in. Keep tuning in. Please hit the like, subscribe button, all that jazz. I'll be saying that enough times. I don't know why. We say it, the more you say it, I guess more people start doing it. But that's how we make this work. We're going to try to get this channel to grow immensely this year. I want as many people as we can to watch, enjoy, comment, please. That helps me. I'm a student here. You know, I'm a student and I need your help. And that's it. So let's get Dude Craft Guitars going. Let's get the channel going. And let's get you guys learning how to build a guitar, at least my way. You know, it's not the only way, but watch as many videos from as many different people as you can, and you'll learn a bunch, I guarantee it. Thanks again for tuning in to Dude Craft Guitars. Now, on with the episode.
First thing is, let's make sure this thing is square, because we are going to be jointing some boards. There we go. Now, I already had two of these all ready to go. It was going to be for another model, and we didn't need them all, so here we're just adding the top board to make this thing big enough. We are making a B6. It's going to be a 6-string baritone, and it is going to have a walnut top, so it's going to be beautiful. The intro, you already saw what it looked like to begin with, but this is how we got there. Glue clamp, you know. That's the deal. So the T-bowl kind of took care of the clamping on the bottom. Now we're clamping on the top, and this just gives a nice even pressure on everything. And while that's done, let's go ahead and get the top going. Now we're going to be using a pick guard, and yeah, lots of gear is going to be covering this. So we're not doing a book match, we're just doing an end matching on it. And again, since we'll be gluing that together, let's get it all planed out. Back to the jointer planer we go. There we go. Did I say jointer planer? You know what I mean. I could edit that out, but I'm not gonna, because it really doesn't matter. So the body parts are done. This was set for a while. I think I did this and got the top ready, then took lunch. So here we are. It's after lunch, and we can get this all taken care of. So same type of thing, except here I'm going to use a bar to keep them down because these are a lot thinner and they have a tendency to pop up. So while I got them clamped on the table, now I'm going to use this metal bar. And notice I put the packing tape on there. It's getting kind of rusty. I didn't want any of that to spread into the wood. So there we go. And we're just scraping the glue boogers off. About to put this thing through the drum sander, and I really don't like getting glue on my sander. So we're just scraping all the little boogers off of there. Kind of a caramely texture at this point because it's set, but it's not really dried right up on top. Basswood. Yeah, it's pretty dusty. Now I'm looking for center line, and to do so, since this is a 3-piece, I'm using that middle piece as the center line. Normally if this was a 2-piece body, your joint itself would be the center line, just like it's going to be on the top there. So as you see, what I like to do here is just keep things moving. So while one thing is gluing, setting, if I've got finish, curing, whatever, then I'm doing something else. Sometimes it's a whole other guitar. This particular case, we're doing this guitar all in one shot. But you do see a neck just to my right elbow there. Yep, that's for another guitar that I've got going on. Now here I'm doing tack-up lines. Just making sure I've got every little marking line that I could possibly get. And we're going to rat out the insides. Now the customer wanted the basswood for the bass body because he wants lightweight. And in doing such, I'm actually carving out more than I have to. I'm even carving out where that front pickup would be, except there is no front pickup. There's no middle pickup, just a single bridge pickup on this guitar. But I'm routing out a little extra. And I'm even going to do a couple other gouge routes just to not make it necessarily a semi-hollow body, but making a lot more holes in there. A little weight relief. Here you go. Now I'm using the Forstner bit to get down first before I route. It's just a good way to get to the depth and to get a lot of wood out of the way and not put all that work on the router. See, I've just got those MDF boards on there. Just double tape just so I can give myself a little bit of guide. Use the chisel where I have to. Now you see right where the router is leaving that little area there, I'm not going to dig out as deep as I am the others. You can see it now to the right. I started to, and then I remembered that's where the belly carve is going to go. So I do need some wood still there. Otherwise I'll be cutting a hole right through it while I'm doing the belly carve. Don't want that. So again, gone with the glue boogers. And through the drum sander before we attach it. Now you see me do enough with the moonshine and the glue on the other part, so you're not going to see it when I glue the top down. I'm just going to cut to the chase. Here I'm just making sure I've got everything lined up. Remember those lineup marks that I did before on the base? I'm going to do the same here and of course get the body traced. So just checking out, make sure everything lines up exactly where I want it to be. And I cut a guide hole right where the neck pocket's going to go, but I didn't cut the neck pocket yet, but for whatever reason I decided to go ahead and cut the humbucker pocket. And while I was doing this, the customer sent me a message and asked me if I wouldn't mind putting a Bigsby on this. So here we go. So I'm putting a Bigsby on it. And I just wanted to make sure that I had enough real estate that everything worked. And it does. So there we go. Gluing everything down. Now I've got, again, not going to show you the gluing. You've seen me glue enough things, but there's glue under there, trust me. And this is how I put it down, because remember I'm doing a whole bunch of things at once, so I need the clamps for other things. You'll see soon what I use those clamps for. But I'm gluing the top down and fastening it with these bolts, and notice I went right around it. Now back to the neck. So this is where we're going to use all those clamps that we could have used to clamp the top down. So for this I'm using walnut. Nice thick chunk that I just cut outside. And I like making it so that the lines either go up or at least a parenthesis. And then I put a chunk of maple in there, which I cut. I did that off camera. I have my table saw outside, and it's not really conducive to getting a video. So once again, to the drum sander, make sure everything is nice and flat. And more moonshine and glue. It's always good to clean the woods. Make sure that there's where some of my clamps were. Remember that neck I was telling you about? That was on the Ronda 12-string farm truck green one that we just saw. That was on the last series. So while that was setting and curing and drying, this is what I was doing. I was working on this one. And I'd probably use too much glue here, but I'd rather have squeeze out than dry spots. And here's all those clamps. And what I'm doing here is you see the little yellow squeeze clamps. We're just holding it down to the table, just keeping everything from moving around on me. Because I did put too much glue and it's starting to shift. I've got way more wood than I need, so even if something does come a little cocked, I could always cut it later. You see it? There it is, right behind me. There I am, cleaning up my tools, and back to the body. Now this is the next day, because as I was cleaning up the tools, I was getting ready for supper, and then we were going to do the family thing. So this next day is all set, nice hard cure on it, and just I traced the template. Now I'm just cutting it out with a bandsaw. Now a lot of guys will do this. They'll trace it with the bandsaw, get it close, and then they'll come back with the template and go with a flush bit on their router. You know, that just doesn't work for me with some woods. No matter what I do, no matter which direction, I've tried to follow the arrow. No matter how sharp or brand new my router bit is, no matter what speed, I always seem to get like a little chunk of tear out here or there, you know, and if it was a painted body, it'd be one thing, but it's going to be all natural wood, so I decided not to go that route, pun intended, but I did decide to go with the sander, especially being basswood. The stuff, I mean, it's carves like ivory soap, it's real easy. So here we are, over to the sander. And this I can just get right on the lines. I mean, I'm making these guitars one at a time, and everybody knows not every single one's going to be exact the same, so, you know, isn't this fun? Okay, so now we're just tracing lines and getting ready for some carving. This is my favorite. Not the tracing lines part, the carving. But I figured I'd show you what I do, so you don't think I'm just haphazardly carving. There's actually a method to this madness. I actually do have a standard here. The B-6 does have a nice beveled front. And to get that bevel going, first I start with the router and just cut little bits away with the straight router bit. So I do that, and then come over with the Shinto. One of my favorite hand tools now is this thing. It just takes wood away. Of course, when it comes to power tools, nothing beats a grinder. And this, I just got a flap disc on it, just a sanding flap disc. It's 4-inch. Then back to the Shinto. I just go back and forth here until I get to the point where I think it's time for the random orbital sander, and then that's when he comes in. Which should be right about now. There it is. It's an interesting transition going from that walnut, which is a little hard and a little crispy, to where you get to the basswood, which is soft and a little mushy. But it's fun. Once you get used to it, you know, it's pretty neat to work with the combination of woods. Now, what's worth doing once is worth doing twice. So now that we did the front end, now we're going to do the back end and get that belly carve that I promised. Plus, there's a little carve around the neck pocket on this guitar. And same method, router, shinto, grinder, shinto, sander, just back and forth. Now you're watching this is all going at high speed, but look at that table, just look like it's just shaking out of nervousness. I actually have my workbench on wheels because I've got such a tiny shop that I've got to move it out of the way sometimes to get to the next tool. I love that. Look at that dust. Now I've decided just to clean up that pickup pocket a little bit, and that's going to be it for today. So again, please click the like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. Share, ring that bell, come on back for the next episode. Thank you.